Welcome to the Gaster Teatime Tales, where I, Dr. W.D. Gaster, shall read you a chapter from the Golden Quiche. Yes, I've seen the polls, and yes, I'm trying to contact Sons for the 6th Q&A. Sigh, he's too popular for his own good. Onwards to the story, shall we? Chapter 7. Action. Someone thought you were an easy target. It was the old drive-by and snatch trick. Wait for you to finish school, stalk the entrance, then snag you like a piece of candy. You were pretty light. It was easy for a grown gym-trained man to pick you off and stuff you into the van. However, they did not account for the fact that Undyne exists, or the fact that you had experienced the same tactic for a good number of timelines. You told her to keep watch from the floor above the school entrance. Right after school, on a Thursday, you saw the van. You saw the goons who will soon grab you. You tried to run and act distressed, not because you were afraid, but it was a signal to Undyne. The moment they nabbed you, Undyne launched herself out of the window. She landed on top of the van. Upon that moment, you imagined the scene tilt dramatically, like a frame shot of an anime, complete with epic theme song, cool lighting, and the sun shining behind her head. With a mighty roar, she conjured a spear and stabbed downwards into the driver's seat. It pierced all the way through the bottom of the van, anchoring the vehicle in place. You pitied the driver. He screamed like a little girl before rolling right out of the door. Everyone else vacated the vehicle in terror. "Hold it right there!" Undyne showered down a rain of spears, catching their clothes and pinning them on the cold, freezing ground. The man who held you hostage tried to flee with you, but to his misfortune, the strongest fish lady pounced on him and swiped her green spear through his soul. His soul had turned green, and he stuck in one place. You wriggled out of his grip and stepped aside to watch the grand finale. One Undyne brand suplex later, the guy was out for the count. She then suplexed the empty van itself, just because she can. The human police arrived to round up the rabble and take testimonies. They were impressed by Undyne's professionalism. Despite her anime-fueled yelling, she did everything a law enforcer should do, disable suspects without inflicting too much harm. A bystander recorded the scene and uploaded it on the internet. Undyne was crowned the Suplex Queen. In less than 6 hours, you survived your first kidnapping, and the world knew of it. This is it. This is the start of uncharted territory. From today onward, you can no longer rely on your experiences of resets. It could go horribly wrong, but it could also be the breakthrough you've yearned for so long. You are determined to face tomorrow. Saturday, 2 days after Undyne's video went viral. It attracted a host of couples who wanted to adopt you. There were so many of them. The current town hall couldn't house them all. Toriel had to unlock the school gates to use the gym. You recognized some of their faces. In some timelines, they were the ones who dragged you to court to gain custody. You also spotted several of your foster parents shuffled in between the group. Everyone wanted you, but not all will love you. You had truly become a Golden Quiche, a symbol of great status. Mom and Dad protected you while Sans went to fetch the necessary legal advisors. They made sure that there was a comfortable distance between you and them. He dropped off Alphys first. She lived nearby compared to the other lawyer. Plus, you needed a friend closer to your size. Whoa, wow, that's a lot of people. Alphys started to get nervous. You wonder if she could handle the sheer amount unhappy, impatient folks. You asked if she brought the DNA test results. Of course, they're in the bag. Alphys lifted her briefcase. I have some DNA testing kits too, just in case they request for it. If anyone tries to dismiss your test, we're certain that they're not your biological parents. You nodded. It made sense. They knew they're lying. The lab results will only expose them in public. For a little fun, you requested Alphys to start a number recording game. To be exact, count the number of people who tried to assume your gender. How many would think you're a boy? How many would think you're a girl? How many would try to be politically correct? You giggled. I guess I can do that. Alphys smiled. She wouldn't pass a game of numbers and statistics. Say, Frisk, you never did tell us if you're a boy or a girl. Why? It's a surprise, you said. One that would take a few years to unfold. The idea was for your own amusement. You weren't sure what changes you'd undergo once puberty hits full swing, so you decided to enjoy the mystery while you still can. Alphys grinned along. That's pretty clever. But remember, health comes first. I've read that there are some really specific illnesses that are linked to their chromosomes. You understood that and thanked Alphys for her concern. Sons then arrived with your custody lawyer. Neither looked forward to the parental confrontation, working on weekends. Never a fun thing. I've brought Mr. Jonah here, Sans said. You noticed a certain tenseness behind his usual grin. Mr. Jonah accepted your case more out of concern and curiosity than money. It's not every day that one would deal with a child adopted by the denizens of an old myth. Hey, Al, Sans said. Yeah? Alphys answered. Mind if you watch the kid for me? I don't want to stick around for the grilling. That request surprised you. Of all people, you expected Sans to be the one ready to rain puns on annoying couples. Nah, kid, the room's getting hot, and I'll just stoke the flames, he replied. It's best to leave this to the pros. See you later, kid. Don't get roasted. Sans then shuffled himself out of the back door, or so it seemed. He'll be around. This ordeal is too close to his heart, commented Alphys. Then she clammed up, started sweating. A lot. Forget I said that. Sorry. You wanted to inquire more about this issue, but Jonah the lawyer told you it's time for you to address the crowd. At first, it went fine, but as time ticked by, crankiness floated in the air. Too many couples tried to list their credentials to adopt you, causing a massive backlog for everyone else. Dad provided refreshments of biscuits and tea, but that was not enough. The cold, sleet rain outside didn't help. Everyone's getting cold and there's not enough heating in the gym. Poor Alphys got yelled at by someone who claims to be a mum of stellar children. She's not convinced that a shy recluse like her was of good influence. Dad interceded in her place. He's super patient, and he had a longer fuse compared to Mom. You were sure that Alphys silently swooned at King Dreamy's saving act. Then there was Sans. You knew firsthand that when he snaps hard. He's been more stressed than usual, so you really don't want an incident. A part of you wondered how long you could maintain a straight face. The suspense slowly but surely piled up your tiny shoulders. But you have to be a good ambassador. It's either that, or humans will force the monsters back underground. Just when you were reaching your limit, someone had to insult Mum about her upbringing capabilities. You were reminded of a website that recorded the dumb ways humans get themselves in serious trouble. Insulting Mom should be part of the list. Toriel did that glare, as Gore! Her tone changed to her serious mode voice, polite yet assertive. You wondered if you should call for an evacuation. Yes, dear, Dad replied. Do you still remember our old trick? One where we used to impress the citizens with? Why, of course, Toriel. I treasure our moments every day. Let's see if we still have that edge after all these years. You watched Mum and Dad hold hands for the first time in forever. They walked out of the gym and into the freezing rain. All past hurts were put aside for your sake. The two boss monsters stood in at the center courtyard of the school's entrance. After a unified nod, they raised their joined hands up into the air. The courtyard exploded in a spectacular display of fire magic. Flowers and birds made of fire danced around the ex-couple, as if they themselves were alive. Then they set fire to the rain. Somehow the water droplets ignited into bright orange flames as they reached a certain radius. Snow melted into water. Water boiled into vapours. The vapours transformed into gas and further fed your monster parents' flames. Parting water into oxygen and hydrogen required a good chunk of energy. You realized that this was quite an intensive display. The warm heat radiated against your entire being. You loved it, but the humans around you were either in shock, terror, or awe, maybe all three. After the artful show, the flames condensed into multiple rings on the floor. The compact pattern reminded you of onions. Despite the lack of flare, it was still intense enough to vaporize the icy rain. "We apologize for wasting your time," said Mum. "We monsterkind thought we should try to adapt to your ways." Dad continued where Mum left off. "However, we are undermanned and inexperienced. We could not cope with the number of applicants. My ex and I love Frisk very much. Therefore, we only want the best for them." Then it's back to Mum again. "Shall we settle this once and for all? Our question is very simple. Will you walk through ice and fire for their sake? Will you put your lives on the line as they had done for us? If you're unwilling," Mum drilled her glare into the crowd, "please go home and don't bother Frisk again. We promise a fair consideration if you do cross the flames." As usual, Dad said it all with a gentle smile. He was the softer diplomat of the two, after all. A bunch of people tried, but they backed away the moment they felt the heat. The humans did not know your monster parents. Will never roast them alive. You were sure that if anyone tried, the fire would part beneath their feet. Everyone backed away and returned home. They no longer dared to mess with the dreamers. Hopefully they won't try to issue a court order either. The only human left behind was Jonah the lawyer. You could see fear on his face. That's not good from the guy whose help you need to gain legal support. He must understand that your parents never meant any harm. You asked Alphys to record you on her phone. When she's ready, you took Jonah by his hand. "Frisk, what are you doing?" he asked. "You asked him to trust you, even though you're his new client. After all, fire was nothing compared to a lizard scientist and a powerful teleporting skeleton." "I guess?" He doesn't know what to think anymore. You led him towards the roaring flames with trust and love. As you had expected, your parents extinguished the flames before they could hurt either of you. Any remaining heat dissipated into the winter air. Droplets of frigid rain pelted on Jonah. Yet he remained silent, unable to believe that this whole event was real. Mom was pleased with your actions. Gone was her stern glare, replaced by the gentle smile you knew and loved. She knew about your little plan, and she's proud that you took the initiative. "Thank you for trusting us, Mr. Jonah. I don't think you wish to adopt a child, but we do need your help." And that is all for today. I noticed that many people seem to have missed the 5th Q&A. Perhaps there was a hiccup in the notifications. Nonetheless, I'll ask Softopus to post a link to the video in the comments section. Have a good day or night wherever you may be.